Good evening. You're watching and listening to the Health Wave. I'm Victoria Barayev. Be with us during the next hour, and you have a great opportunity to interact with us, call and ask questions, or write to us on our Facebook page at Radio Live. The phone number in the studio is 770-727-0777. Once again, 770-727-0777. We have a special guest in the studio tonight that has so much education and so much knowledge that it requires a very special introduction. The topic of the show is, what can we do about our back pain? A very popular topic. A lot of people suffer with the back pain. And this person will truly help us to shed some light on the problems that are related to the back pain. So here you go. Meet Lilia Anteau. Hello. She is a registered nurse, personal trainer in the National Academy of Sports Medicine, corrective exercise specialist, functional movement specialist, barefoot training specialist, behavior change specialist, and a nutritional coach. Lily, I wanted to ask you, how in your lifetime did you manage to get so much education?
Just curious.
Just curious about everything.
Just curious. Yeah, that's just what I've done since I learned to speak English. So there's like 30 more years.
Wow.
Yes.
So you are a registered nurse.
Mm-hmm.
You have an experience working in a hospital?
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years.
13 years.
What exactly that you do right now?
Well, I do not work at the hospital anymore. I'm a personal trainer. I have my own studio, my own business, and I just help people to stay away from the hospital.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that became my big passion. So I guess my life is my work is my life. My family accepted that, and basically we just rolled and haven't lasted.
You just said you have a studio. What is the name of your studio?
Adventure Core, in the Johns Creek, suburb of Atlanta. So come and see us.
Wonderful. What does your studio offer?
Well, we have a personal training, semi-private personal training, a group training. We have a very unique approach to training. We are actually offering barefoot training classes, private, semi-private, for couples and friends, and group, of course. And also, as a nutrition coach, I offer nutrition consultation, as well as corporate wellness.
So we're colleagues, you and I.
Yes,
Very nice.
I go to corporate world and share the news of better health.
Excellent. Let me ask you, why did you choose to do what you do? Why did you choose to do all these, trainings and specialties versus working in the hospital as a nurse?
Well, I was trying to help myself. I needed to get out of the injury cycle I got myself into. When I was younger, I was an athlete. I was very much into the rock climbing and some mountaineering, and I was carrying heavy backpacks and going to places far, you know, in the wilderness, and obviously created some damage to my spine and to my knees, my joints. As I started working here as a nurse, I saw how painful it may be to not take care of yourself and get to the point in your life when you actually have to go to the hospital. So then my husband had a heart attack. That just brought the message home. So you got to be proactive versus reactive. And as I was a nurse, I completed the multiple certifications, learning about functional movements, about nutrition, about how to help myself, because to that point, I already got pretty jacked up. So my body was barely handling. I was diagnosed with prediabetes.
Oh, wow.
I had knee pain. I had low back pain. I was told that I have deteriorated hips and herniated discs. And I'm like, whoa, that's not the direction I want to go. And I saw that how bad it can get if you just not putting pause on that kind of lifestyle when you do not take care of yourself. So, and I was training. I was going to the gym. I was running half marathons, and I was
you lived in a state of chronic pain.
And I was in a state of chronic pain. What is going on? I'm training. I'm going to gym. I'm going to yoga, and I'm hurting myself in yoga class. I'm going hiking, and I feel like, you know, my ankles are rolling out, and I'm like coming home, and I'm limping. What is going on? What is my body telling me with those symptoms? So, and this is why I was trying to find a trainer first who will help me. And I will tell, hey, listen, I'm coming to you here, and I don't just want you to tell me what to do. I need you to teach me so I can come home and do it. Because I cannot come here, you know, every day. So I want you to teach me, and neither one will teach me. They will just tell me, okay, do this many push-ups, do that many squats. Okay, now run around, and I felt like I was bossing around. So I'm like, no. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and become a trainer myself. And that's how it started.
Very good thought.
And then as I was going through my learning, so to say, I'm like, oh, there is another program. Oh, let me do this one. And I was just getting fired up. And it's like, I will complete the one, and I will not even complete my program yet. I already see what I need to do next. It was just going on and on and on. And eventually I had to quit my nursing practice because I couldn't do both well enough, because nursing requires a lot of time. And my body was not able to do all those things, especially because I'm a mom of 3 as well, and busy with my children and home and husband, and it just was too much. So I had to make a decision, and I left out.
I understand. So now I see that the topic of pain got interest. You got interested in it because of your own experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because living in a state of chronic pain is absolutely horrible. Yeah. It limits your ability to do your daily tasks, to live a fulfilling life. And most of us have experienced a lower back pain, for example, right? Here or there, doing what we have to do on a daily basis. But if that pain persists for, I believe, more than 3 months, it's considered 3 to 6 months, then it's considered a chronic state of pain.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, interesting. You said to me that when you have back pain, when we spoke to you before, you mentioned that when you have a back pain, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a bad back. Is that correct?
Like weak back, you mean? Bad back.
Right, weak back. So as I understood, it doesn't necessarily mean that the problem is in your back. The problem could be somewhere else.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, that's a very good question. Absolutely. Yes, if you're telling me you have a back pain, I will immediately look down at your feet and at your knees. And I may also look at your shoulders, but first thing where I look at will be your feet.
So the feet are like the foundation?
Absolutely. If you're standing on the ground, and we are, even if you're sitting, I hope you have both feet flat on the ground because it's better for you. So your movement starts from the feet. And depending upon how you're loading your feet, if you're loading it correctly, you have, so to say, tripod. If you think of the big toe, little toe, and the heel. And that's how you should be loading your weight when you're standing on the ground.
So those three spots.
Yeah. So big toe, little toe, and a heel. So you need to make sure you feel on the ground with all of them. The best if you can feel the ground with all your digits and the heel. But we are in the shoes, most of us, all day long.
So do you suggest that we not wear shoes at all?
No. I love shoes. I love shoes. But you need to, when you buy shoes, you need to kind of, yes, of course, the whole ladies, we love shoes. We want to look good in shoes, and it just increases our confidence if you have like awesome shoes. But you always have to take a look at your foot type and make sure the shoe you buy is not gonna bring all those compensations and pain.
How do you know when you buy shoes that those are the right kind of shoes?
Very good question. As a matter of fact, I have a few pairs here. Obviously, we're not going to go dancing in those shoes, but imagine if you are just walking around, doing grocery shopping or something. What kind of shoes are you wearing? So you're wearing some comfortable shoes, right? You're probably not going to go, hopefully you're not going to go in heels, right?
Right. I choose what would be most comfortable for that specific task.
There we go.
Going shopping.
So first of all, you want to make sure you have a wide toe box. So you want to make sure your toes can't splay inside that shoe, okay? Because otherwise, if your toes are like this, you won't be able to load and unload correctly. And where's the shark going to go? Probably up above into your knee, into your low back, so into your low back. So you want to make sure.
So there is enough space for the toes inside the feet.
Exactly. And
inside the shoe.
You want to make sure you are feeling the ground. You are feeling the ground. But they have a different foot type. So some people like to kind of pronate, which means they collapsing in towards that inner arch. Some like to supinate, which means they're kind of rolling out. And you can look on your shoe. If it's an old shoe, you can see which side you're wearing out. If you're wearing out the outside of your shoe, you're probably supinator. If you're on the inside, you are pronator. But it's not that simple. There's much more to it because the shoe, our foot has a different, parts to it. So, and this is when I have to come in as a barefoot training specialist and help you figure out what kind of foot type you have and what kind of shoe will help you. But just the basic, without going into details about what exactly foot type you have, we need to make sure our shoe has a wide toe box. Think of our ladies' beautiful stilettos, flat. Look at we put our toes in it, and no wonder we are like in pain later on. And I've done it. I will take the trash out, and I will wear shoes on the heel. That's how bad I was.
Right. Many ladies do that.
Exactly. So you want to make sure you have a wide toe box. That's number one. Number two, if it's just a regular shoe, just to walk around, so to say, it's not something you go celebrate summer bands, obviously. That's a different story. We can talk about it later. But if it's just every day to decrease the pain, you also want to make sure your shoe is what? You feel the ground in that shoe. Okay? But if you have problems already, if you have a pain in your feet, if you know you have a plantar fasciitis, okay? If you collapsed in your mid-arch and you have a pancake foot, flat foot, those sort of things. So then you have a very unstable foot, and you may get hurt wearing a shoe like that. Right. So then you probably need to see a podiatrist.
So you mean soft shoes like that?
Soft in terms of like flexible. Flexible. So there's no support. So I don't recommend my clients to go in a shoe like that immediately. So I will recommend them transitional shoe. And this is more transitional shoe. You see, have a little bit more heel. Okay, it's also pretty flexible. Have a wide toe box. Okay, and when I'm putting the shoe on, I am feeling the ground because I want to feel the ground because the ground gives me information.
And they're also lightweight.
Yes.
Is that important too?
Well, I would think so. I would think so because typically I would think there should be. I don't really myself like heavy shoes because when I walk, I wanna fight the ground. I wanna feel like I'm flying
through it.
Yes, because if you feel, just think about your gait, the way you walk. If you feel like you're fighting the ground with every step you take, ooh, you probably may end up with some pain somewhere.
Somewhere in the body, for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. So, but again, if you have some dysfunction, if you have some, that you have some pathology, you've got to talk to medical professional, podiatrist, preferably, a functional podiatrist, if you can find one, who actually knows something about, functional movement and can give you a good recommendation.
Very interesting. Dear friends, I really thought that I invited a specialist to talk about a back pain, and I was hoping that she would tell me to put a hot patch on my back, or at least iron it with a really hot iron. And here it turns out I have to know this whole new science about bare feet and about shoes. It sounds like I have to go to a specialty store to buy my shoes. I can't just get them in any store.
I will recommend too, if you have problems, if you already developed some problems in your feet, if you have a foot pain,
Okay, so specialty stores will offer this type of shoes.
They will look at your foot. Oh, they will scan your foot. They will see where you're loading. If you are pronator, supinator, are you midfoot pronator, forefoot pronator? See how complicated it is? The foot is very complex. Like it is. Your foot has quarter of all bones in your body. Can you imagine that? A quarter. Wow. A quarter. So right there in your foot. Okay. Just imagine that. 33 joints. Very complex. And muscular, skeletal system wise, and just think about, yes, it doesn't just stop there. All those muscles and fascia, connective tissue which connects muscles together.
What is fascia?
We're gonna go there next. So just imagine everything, you are interconnected from the bottom of your foot to the top of your forehead. Yeah. So I know you might feel tightness in your hamstrings, but you just need to do this with your forehead and relax the muscles on your forehead. And
can you show to our viewers, please? Like this.
Yeah, there you go. Just bring your eyebrows up, like, ooh.
So that helps to
release hamstrings. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes you feel tightness in the back.
We're learning something.
I know. Body is very interesting. That's why I call my business Adventure Core. You just literally take an adventure. You just like on such an adventure, you don't know when you're gonna get home. I mean, you're just there.
Now, what is barefoot training? What is it exactly? I know you're a barefoot training specialist,
right? Barefoot training, basically, it's not just about training barefoot, okay? And you just asked me what fascia is, and that's exactly where we go into. Because when you're thinking about training overall, it's not just about training your muscular skeletal system. As we think, okay, I'm going to go to gym and I'm going to go ahead and work on my biceps and triceps. All those names, all those names people design for communication. But you're not a bicep and tricep. You're a whole. I have a question for you. How many oceans are there?
6? 4? You're embarrassing me.
But really, how many oceans are there?
It's one whole.
That's right. So you are whole, and you are very complex. And if we're going to look at your back without looking at your foot, we're giving you the service. I mean, it's just, it's connected. It's connected. And so during our barefoot training classes, what we learn is, first of all, to recognize that when you're standing on the ground, you're receiving information through the skin on the bottom of your foot. Okay, information is going up to your brain and tells your brain, do the movement. Okay, this is where you at in space. This is where you at. So now you get a clarity on where you at. Now you're gonna do this squat or this lunge with much more accuracy. Because if you can think of the foot and plantar aspect of it, kind of dorsal aspect of it, and think of the skin on the bottom of that foot, there are, I will give you a number, great, 104 mechanoreceptors. What the heck are those? Those are, we call also proprioceptors, right? So proprioceptors, what is that? Those are actually messengers for your brain, okay? They deliver that mail. So just think about email or something, or mailman delivering the news, right? From one place to another. So that, those mechanoreceptors deliver the news to your nervous system and tell it to do what you want to do. So, to make it a little bit more clear, as we're standing on the ground, we are finding connection with that ground.
So I get it. We have to have this contact with through the skin.
Absolutely. And it's not just that simple. It's not just the foot, because the foot need to talk to your core. And again, now, what the heck is core? Because everybody thinks six-pack. It's not that simple. Core is more than six-pack. As a matter of fact, core is not six-pack. Okay. So we teach foot to talk to the core and tell the glute to do the job. Your movement is just as stable and efficient as your connection of foot to the core.
Basically, it creates a chain of reaction.
You got it. You got it. So we get that communication going. And if there is no communication, there is no reaction, there is nothing happen as a result of it. You may be doing those squats until cows come home, and you're still going to have a amnesia, gluteal amnesia, we call it.
Yeah, so interesting. Oftentimes we go to the doctor for chronic back pain, and we are not able to get help. You know, and when we think about what is the cause of our back pain, not always we're able to find the answer.
Correct. Well, doctors know very well about pathologies, but unfortunately, doctors don't know a whole lot about function. That's not what they get trained at. So, and if you have a pain and you go to doctor, they a lot of times with back pain, they may not even know exactly wherever they're going to do to help you, because everybody's back pain is different. And unfortunately, yes, they can, try a variety of different things, and a lot of times they go for drugs, and drugs, as we know, have side effects, and they may do injections, and as we know, injections also create heart tissue, and it just kind of destroys the tissue, destroys connective tissue, destroys fascia, which connects everything. So, okay, if you eventually got to the point you have to have a surgery, well, I have a news for everyone. Surgery almost always can be canceled. Almost always can be canceled. And I always say, okay, this is the very last result. Why? Because, okay, listen, if you have a problem with your structure, with the structure, something is just like the discs are maybe rubbing into each other, maybe there's herniation, something else go on. But, okay, you get the surgery done. But if you're not going to fix your function, the way you move, the way you stay on your feet, the way you walk, the way you pick up wherever you pick up off the ground, the way you pick up toys off the ground, the way you pick up the baby. If you're not going to change function which got you in this situation in the first place,
you continue bumping into this problem constantly.
You're going to
over and over again.
Back to that. And you're going to feel like I did years back in that injury cycle. Just devastating.
Well, besides injury, right? So that can cause back pain. You just mentioned that it could be a functional problem, right?
Absolutely.
Other than all of what you just listed, are there any other reasons we might have a back pain?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, you need to rule out any serious medical conditions, because cancer can cause back pain. Absolutely. Kidney issues can cause back pain. It's going to be right there on your low back, as a matter of fact, right there. So you definitely need to go to your doctor and rule it out. So if that is a musculoskeletal pain, we need to look at, first of all, there is a kind of thing which called, it's a chronic pain, but it may just, okay, you picked up the box, you put it on the shelf, and bam, it went, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it may not just necessarily happen now. That may have been a process. You may have been created those kind of little mini injuries, those, tears, small tears, and eventually, bam, it went on. Okay, so that's just kind of other thing which you need to be aware of. It may not, the fact that you did something today, it doesn't mean it just happened. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the function here is going to be huge to take care of. Okay, so if you have some, obviously they have some other issues which can be structural, and those, unfortunately, the doctor can only take care of structural.
Like what? Like scoliosis?
Well, if it's congenital scoliosis, yeah, definitely. But we can work with it. We can, it's functionally. So the scoliosis, definitely take care of that core. Go after it, because stable core will help you to maintain that unstable spine.
You know how much we're focused on building our core,
Yes.
strengthening our core.
Yes.
Now, doing that, do you think that would help to strengthen our back as well? Is that
Absolutely.
the approach you would take?
Absolutely, definitely. That will be 100% my approach. And if I'm looking at the core, by the way, let's go pretend this is the core. This is the core.
Mm-hmm.
So this is cylinder. The core is cylinder, and you have like a few layers. Okay, actually 3 layers. And superficial layer is that 6-pack in front. It's not really that valuable in terms of stability. Okay, I'm talking about problems with low back, because low back, to so to say, protect and rehab low back, you need stability through your core musculature and fascia.
That word fascia.
We call it myofascia, myomuscle fascia. So it's kind of together. You cannot separate those two. They kind of intertwine. This fascia connects muscle fibers, and it's just one tissue, technically. So if you look at your core, the roof of your core is diaphragm. And we often forget about it. The
Here we go. How to breathe.
bottom of your yes. The bottom of your core is pelvic floor. And we're talking about the back, as I'm answering your question. Both of them matter. Both of them, big players. I'm getting that back rehab and protected. Okay. So the front of the core is your transverse abdominis, which is below the 6-pack. That beautiful 6-pack everybody wants. Is actually the main player for back is under it. Okay. So, and if you look on the back of the core, there is your back musculature. You have it called multifidi. There are some few different muscle groups there.
And it's all interconnected.
You're absolutely right. So, and when you talk about core strengthening, for whoever it is, scoliosis, congenital, or functional, by the way, a lot of people develop functional scoliosis. It's so common. Why? Well, number one, because of our movement, or lack of it. We sit a lot. We create a lot of instability in our hips. We like to sit with one knee on top of another. We like to, when we stand, we like to shift from one side to another. To think about kind of shifting on one side and staying on one leg versus other. And
many people do that.
So, and what's happening as a result of it is your hips getting a little, just imagine hips right here, hip on top of the hips right here. Okay? So the hips getting kind of up, shifting. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, Lilia, I have to stop you for a second because we have to break away for a musical pause. Okay. And then we'll be back. Please stay with us.
Sorry, I'm like, what is going on? I'm not sure. You guys are looking at each other.
Это пришлось сделать, чтобы мы не сбились с этого, опять это правило.
Сейчас уже начинаем.
Да, можно.
We're back. Thank you for staying with us. And I want to remind that my guest in the studio tonight is Lilia Anteau. Her phone number is 770-561-8367. She's a pain specialist and also all kinds of bare feet training specialist, functional movement specialist. She's a nutritional coach. She's a registered nurse. So you can find her. She has a studio named Adventure 4 in Atlanta, Georgia. And the phone number to find Lilia is 770-561-8367. We're back to our topic of the back pain. We were just talking about back pain and the core strengthening, and I think we already touched upon the scoliosis.
Yes.
You see how everything is interconnected.
Absolutely. So back to the core. So basically, you gotta work all those muscles: diaphragm, pelvic floor, your deep abdominal muscles, and your deep back muscles, which attach to your spine, in order to protect and rehabilitate that spine. Okay, so and it's basically a big part of my program. So I teach the foot to talk to the core through the pelvic floor and diaphragm, because those two need to talk to each other. How do they talk to each other?
Pelvic to the diaphragm.
Correct, because they attach. They actually attach not only via muscles and fascia, there are a lot of nerve connection there. And that's why when we talk about, okay, foot is my gut. The gut is kind of there inside. So there's a lot of stuff happening inside that cylinder. Yeah, it's very interesting. Definitely recommend you, if you have a back pain, to look for the core training. Yes, of course, you can sign up for Pilates and yoga and whatnot. Just there are a few things I would like to recommend in regard to that.
Well, now we know who to come and see.
There we go. Yes, well, I actually I was trained as a Pilates instructor, and I did some yoga certifications and whatnot. And as myself, with all my lumbar issues, my lumbar spine issues, my low back issues, there are some exercises I cannot do. Yes, and that's something I would like to point attention to. If you ask me what exercise is best for me, for my back, I will tell you it depends. It depends what you have going on. It requires evaluation. If you decide to go to Pilates, which is fantastic, or yoga, which is lovely, I love yoga, but you need to keep in mind that you need to be very observant. You need to become your own detective. And you need to notice what movements trigger the pain. There are some which I will never, ever do. And I used to do it.
So you have to listen to your body, basically.
Absolutely.
Well, more and more people get back pain at a younger age, and for our children, it's a normal thing right now to have a back pain. So do you think, is it because kids don't move their bodies enough? They sit at the computer more than they should, or is it because they're too active, which is a nonsense nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
So why do you think children get back pain more often?
Well, obviously because we sit. That's number one. Just think about our, parents and our parents' parents. They didn't sit.
They never sat.
Our body was not designed to sit. Our physiology was not designed to be in flexion. We need to be in extension. We need to walk. We need to run. We need to move. We need to breathe in that process. Because movement, it opens up that pumping mechanism in our body. We are like system of pumps. Think of the heart, think of the lymphatic system. That's just pumping all day long. And those poor kids, they sit in school, they sit on the bus, they come home, they sit in front of the computer, they sit at the dinner table, and then they sit on the couch.
Watching TV.
There we go. And exactly. Unless they go opposite direction, because some parents are super active with their children. They take them on different activities. And what I have found as a mom of a very, active athlete, he, as a matter of fact, now he forgot about it, but we spoke about it at the age of 17. He just turned 17 last May, and he started complaining of knee pain and foot pain. And he was doing a training as a football player in a weight room. And I asked him what they're doing there, and I just got scared. because those bodies were not designed to do this kind of strength training. Strenuous, absolutely. First thing in the morning, flexion exercises are not good for the spine. And the first thing in the morning, they're in the weight room. 7 o'clock, they barely open their eyes. They cannot even talk yet. They're already in the weight room.
Wow.
Yes. So we need to be very careful how we design our programs for our children, because a lot of it totally lacking any common sense if you look at it, and it's just not very intelligent approach to our training with our children. Okay, so our children need to be mobile. It's really not, the strength will come. We just need to make sure we mobilize in that tissue, we letting them move as much as possible. That's one of the things which I'm as a parent encountered, and I was just very, very concerned. But I have to take care of it now. He doesn't have pain anymore. He's happy.
So people who, not only children, but there are people who really have to sit at the computer a lot.
Right.
Computer industry is so popular nowadays.
Yes.
Many people work at the computers. For example, my own son, he used to have a job where he worked at the computer, but he was not allowed to get up from his seat. People are literally not even allowed to stand up. They have to be sitting at the computer. So given the situation, can you suggest, are there any exercises that people can do while sitting in their chair?
In a chair, absolutely. So from self-myofascial release, self-myofascia, you do it yourself, myo, muscle, fascia, connective tissue, connects everything. Okay, just think about this way. Tennis balls. Put 2 of those tennis balls in a nail-on sock. Tie them up like this. So when I'm sitting on a chair for too long, usually that happens if I travel. I cannot sit more than 20 minutes. I have to stand up and move around and stand, or just do something, but just don't sit. You can put it behind your back. So imagine your back. Okay, so I can show it on you.
Yes.
Kind of, you can turn around. There we go. There we go. I don't think anybody can see that, but imagine Victoria is back. So imagine, let me put it, if you don't mind to hold it on. Okay, just imagine the spine. You put the balls on the outside of the spine, okay? So make sure the balls do not touch spinal processes, okay? The bony area. It has to be against the soft tissue. Very, very important. Okay, so here we go. Thank you. So I'm gonna put this in the area of my mid-back. In the area of my mid-back, and I'm just gonna sit against it. And I'm just gonna take a minute break. I'm just gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna breathe right into those balls. For count of 4, inhale. For count of 4, exhale.
So you inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale,
1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna hold my exhale for count of 3. And I'm gonna inhale again.
1,
into
2,
the balls
3, 4.
And into the rib cage. Remember that cylinder? You breathe in 3-dimensionally. You breathe in not just to the front. You breathe in to the side, to the back. You breathe in everywhere. Into the balls. And you have inhale for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 3, and you do it about 6 to 8 times. I don't know how much time it's going to
take. So you have to press on these balls.
Correct. Correct. So what are you going to accomplish by doing that? You're just going to get in a little bit of spinal, thoracic spine extension, which is phenomenal because when you are sitting at the computer, you are flexed. Mm-hmm. And we need to reverse that. And this is extension. So after you do this simple thing, you can do a simple stretch sitting right where you're at. So how can you do it? Here, imagine you're on the chair. You're going to go ahead and put your hands on the back of the chair, and you're just going to pull forward through those pectoral muscles in front of your chest. Yeah, just come along and do it. Oh, that feels so good. I cannot sit for that long. 1 hour it's killing me.
I can feel it right on my spine.
There we go. Now you place your hands in front. And
under the chair.
Round. And you breathe right into that back. And you're going to reverse inhale. Every time you go away from fetal position, you inhale. And you go back to fetal position, you exhale. So other thing which our body loves to do, it loves to rotate. And if you don't rotate through your thoracic spine, which is kind of mid-back, right up to your neck, then you rotate through your low back. And that's what low back doesn't like.
Oh, I
Low
see.
back not supposed to rotate. So what do you do for
So
rotation?
upper back is supposed to rotate.
Correct. You got it. So you put your feet flat on the ground. You take your feet about hip width apart, and you take your arms to the side, placing one hand on the right railing of your chair, and just turn and place other hand on the back. And you're just gonna pull yourself in, and come back, and repeat on another side.
Feels really good.
Yes, there we go. I'm telling you. I do same thing when I travel on a driving chair. Sit. You know,
Oh,
you can
same
do
thing can be done while
Oh,
driving.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Not
So-
while driving, but
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
when we
Yeah.
stop.
Yes, absolutely. So a good idea to breathe as you drive, especially if you're behind slow driver. You know, it really helps because it just comes down your nervous system. You go in the parasympathetic mode and you're like, life is good, you know, instead of just, you know,
really good.
instead of like stressing out. You already have enough stress. Don't give any more yourself.
Plus, when you don't move, your circulation really gets stuck, right? But moving a little bit, it opens up all the passages, creates more blood circulation.
And not just
Immediately you
that,
feel better.
your lymphatic fluid. They don't have
Exactly.
heart. There's
They
nothing.
don't have a pump.
They don't. What is the pump for lymphatic fluid? Number one, breathing. Number two, movement. Yeah. Especially three-dimensional exercises. You know what those are?
No.
Three-dimensional. Okay. Think about when you're moving forward and back. That's one plane of motion.
Right.
We call it sagittal plane.
Mhm.
When you're moving side to side, that's other plane of motion. Frontal plane. And we have a transverse plane when you this movement is transverse plane.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I can just.
So in those three exercises, we pretty much did all of them.
Yeah, we moved in the sagittal plane, we did in the transverse plane. So here is the reason why you have to move in three planes. There is just no questions about it. You have to, because your muscles run that way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those muscles, the cylinder on the top especially, they run diagonal. You got to train them.
So once again, we have to move front and back.
Yeah.
And then we have to move
Side to
side to side, like this.
like step in sideways. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then in a circle.
Well, not necessarily. If you just imagine, staying in a circle, and the circle is the face of the clock,
Mm-hmm.
and 12 o'clock is in front of you. So, like for instance, your left foot will be at 12 o'clock, and you're moving your right foot towards 5 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and you're lunging towards 5 o'clock, and coming back to the middle. So that will be your transverse plane.
And then do the opposite side.
Correct. As far as like upper body, just you rotating T-spine like this, that's your transverse plane. But be careful. Some of us are locked in, especially if you don't breathe correctly. If you are like that vertical breather, you know what those are?
Vertical breather.
Vertical breather. You can see that. They breathe and their shoulders going up and down and up and down. And you just see it like that. Watch your spouse after he got upset with somebody. Like, oh yeah, you just see that go.
I'll be watching now. I'll be looking for those type of people. So what happens when you do a vertical breathing?
Well, unfortunately, you get locked in. You're not breathing into your diaphragm. You're breathing through your chest muscles. You're breathing through your upper back muscles. You develop tension there. We call it hypertonicity, and that's not good for you.
I think a lot of us tend to do that.
Yes, we sure do, because we are all stressed. And so instead of breathing up and down, you need to breathe east-west. So north-south, that's not good. Breathe east-west and all around. Just kind of east-west, east-west. You breathe in and your rib cage is coming out.
Kind of like
and
pretending that you're opening up in your rib cage, in your abdomen.
That's right. And watch babies. They naturally, they didn't forget yet, they were just born and they breathe just the way they were designed to do it. Out through the ribs, into the belly, and back in. And you just feel this ribs coming out and in. And out
and we can
lovely.
Look at the baby and think something's wrong with it.
No, babies would watch puppies. Puppies breathe that way too. So people who don't breathe through their diaphragm and don't have that east-west breathing, they unfortunately get kind of locked in a lot of times in their thoracic spine. Okay, so that thoracic spine mid back. Okay, so here's the deal. When you come in this way and you're locked in T-spine, watch for that low back. because you may by accident get there through your lower back. So how can you know you are not moving through your lower back?
How?
Look at your belly button. And the belly button will be that marker which is going to tell you if you're moving through your lower back or not.
And how is it going to tell us?
Your belly button need to face forward. You know where your belly button is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just think of, okay, get your mind in your belly button. And as you rotate yourself, make sure your belly button is still facing forward. As soon as your belly button starts moving, okay, you're moving through your lower back.
So you're making too much of it.
Correct. So you gotta watch for that range of motion. You cannot go too far because that may be a bit too much for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to just find that range. How far can you go? It depends on your range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone have a different range of motion. And you need to respect that. So don't go too far. Okay? So here you are kind of locked in. Your hips are down. So your hips are not moving. If you're moving your hips, that's a different story. Low back was designed to move the hips. Where hips go, low back follows.
Right.
Okay? So low back was not designed to move by itself. There is only 10 degrees of rotation in that low back. The hips got 35.
That's why sitting down, you have to be careful with how much you do rotation.
Yeah. And if you're sitting for long time, please, especially if you're like on a plane for like hours and hours, or in a car for hours and hours, and after that you come out and go to your suitcase, and all of a sudden you're picking it up like,
pulling it.
Because you're in flexion, you got to be careful. You got to walk around a little bit and kind of let your system reset, let the fluid redistribute, and only after that, using your deep core musculature, pick up the load. This has to be stiff. Not this has to be stiff. They always think that, oh, give me bicep, tricep, give me some, whatever else, glutes. But we're not thinking about this a lot of times. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the foundation,
the core.
Yes, absolutely. So that's how if you happen to sit in a flex position for a long time and you got up on your feet, do not pick up heavy weight immediately. If you slept and woke up in the morning and you have a low back problems, do not go into flexion exercises immediately. A lot of times we try to, reach down and kind of stretch things, hamstrings, whatnot. No, for flexion exercises. Contraindicated. First thing in the morning. Walk around, drink something, tea, coffee, whatever you like to drink. And only after that, you can start your stretching.
Treat your body gently. Never forget about that.
You got it. Yeah. And listen. If you have pain already, you've got to make sure you know what frequency, what movement make that pain worse. And write it down.
Lilia, I wanted to ask you, does our posture have anything to do with the back pain?
Absolutely. Your posture follows like a shadow, follows you like a shadow everywhere. It's a kind of, it's a print of your lifetime experience, right? So whatever way you like to stand, or sit will influence functionality and will influence longevity of your movement. So when I work with my clients, they all know I'm very picky about their posture. Although I have to tell you, there is no perfect posture.
There's no perfect posture.
No one has a perfect posture. I don't have a perfect posture. No one I know have a perfect posture. Okay? So what is a perfect posture in my opinion? You need to make sure you are staying tall. On top, your spine is on top of that pelvis, and you just stay tall. Okay? So our parents used to tell us, and our teachers, many of my teachers, I remember, they would say, okay, bring your shoulders back. Okay.
Exactly. This was my first thought.
Okay.
Pull your shoulders back.
And so where does my rib cage go?
Up front.
Can I breathe like that?
No.
Here we go.
So does that mean your shoulders need to be more relaxed?
Yeah.
And when you just have to pay attention to the core, to the spine.
Yeah. You want to make sure your spine is on top of that. Your spine naturally have a curvature in the lumbar area and in the thoracic spine area. So in the lumbar, we have a little bit of kind of lordotic curvature, just tiny. Some people have more, some people have less, some people don't have it at all. And a little kyphotic. But see, because we sit so much, and that unfortunately put our hip flexors are down in our groin, kind of inside there is a hip plexus, that's those muscles, they are actually attached to your lower back, lumbar spine. And they get in short and tight position. So when you get up, you cannot even extend all the way. And you kind of develop that super curvature. We call it lordosis, lumbar lordosis. So a lot of people develop that as a result of sitting. Some people develop opposite situation. They develop kind of, they tuck the pelvis in and they have absolutely no curvature. Okay? Neither one is actually functional and healthy because both can bring pain. Okay? So when you're just standing on 2 feet on the ground, hopefully barefoot, you just need to imagine, close your eyes and envision, okay, where's my pelvis in relationship to my spine?
Oh, that's the key. So your pelvis in a relationship to your spine.
Yes.
That's how we have to think.
Yes. So
about
you need
posture.
Yes. You need to have that spine on top of that pelvis and shoulders are down. Just imagine pulling the shoulders down. Imagine elongating through the back of the neck. Imagine you have a crown on top of your head. And you're reaching up with the crown, just kind of come along with me. It's fine. It's just kind of pull your shoulders down. Imagine pressing the back of your head into the chair behind you, but just don't go that far. Just imagine pressing. So feel those long neck muscles. They kind of got super long, right? You feel like a Queen of England or something.
That feels good.
Yeah, there we go. Now try to maintain that posture. So that's when the problem comes in. Because, okay, one thing is a static posture. Another thing is, can you move it? And this is what we do in our movement training programs. We learn how to.
So you have to learn how to move like this.
Absolutely. You got them. And why do we like this way? Because everything, when you're just standing, you're not supposed to feel tension. And I know a lot of people do. Why do I know? Because I ask them. And I know I do too. I do too. If I stand for a long time, I can have tightness in my back.
Well, I think it's in general, people tend to feel tension rather than feeling relaxed. All of us, due to stress and everything, the way we move, the way we sit, we just tend to feel more.
And now you answer your own question. So proper posture, the one you're not getting hurt. So if you don't feel in pain, you're standing in line or, I don't know, just standing. And if you feel in pain after some time of standing, okay, you're standing for 20 minutes in Disney World, okay, in line, you're standing. And all of a sudden you feel back hurts, this hurts. You're not in proper posture.
So it's from the posture. It's from a proper posture.
Yeah, because your muscles have to work harder to maintain your alignment. Okay, that's why that soreness is coming from that myofascia.
Wow, so much has been said during the session tonight. I really appreciate you coming here tonight, Lilia.
Thank you so much.
And we're coming closer to the end of our session, but I wanted to ask you to summarize, to give us a few points of what has been said, so we can remember better, please.
Okay. Well, number one, breathe, and not just breathe. Which means you breathe through the belly.
So you don't breathe north-south, you have to breathe east-west. Okay.
Yeah. Number two, stay tall. Stay tall. So your head wants to be cold. Just reach it up towards the north pole. Okay? Your heart wants to be hot. Reach down towards the south. And they're just going to pull you apart. And by the way, people get taller that way too. It helps to elongate the vertebrae. Okay, that helps with pain as well.
So anyone who wants to grow a little taller, remember,
there we go.
You know what to do now.
Number three, get barefoot. Feel the ground, because you are as efficient as you connect it, and you get energy from the ground. By the way, go outside and stay barefoot on the grass.
Oh, it feels absolutely tremendously awesome.
Yeah, we call it ground, and get some negative charge from the earth, which is going to help to neutralize that positive charge of stress of daily living. Amazing.
I've done that.
Amazing. Yes. And definitely, move. Move. You got to move. What doesn't move dies. So you got to move.
Thank you so much. And one more question. For people who don't move a lot, can you give a few more suggestions? How else what would be best to start to do?
You mean they don't move because they can't, or they don't move because they don't want to?
That's a good question. They don't move probably because they just don't move. They are capable, but
They're
they don't.
capable. Well, first recognize movement is privilege. You got a gift. Wow, you got a gift.
It's very profound.
And I will have to tell you, I've seen people who cannot move. You do not want to be in that team. It's devastating. What you don't use, you lose. You've got to find something to start up with. And the way I recommend to do it, start slow. It doesn't have to be a whole, I don't know, half an hour, whatever people say. 5 minutes. Start moving. Go for a walk around the house. Go for a walk in your house. You go grocery shopping, walk around the house. It's cold outside. I mean, walk around the grocery store and park far away. I mean, that's a great option. Okay. So definitely moving gonna help you. If you have some dysfunction in your feet, I'm talking about pathology, pain, and whatnot, and that gets on the way of your movement, get consultation. I mean, just see professional. It's so important. It's so worth your time and your resources. If you have some pain in your feet and whatnot, start walking for a little bit, a little increments, barefoot. Just little increments, okay? So I think it's very, very important. Using little tools like this also help to get out the pain and get
yes, you have a tool, an interesting tool here.
So this is really cool. It's called Theracane. And what I do with that, I actually can show it this way so you can see it. You can release some trigger points of areas of adhesions in your myofascia, which actually block the movement and create a lot of discomfort and stop people from moving. So you can buy it on Amazon, you can buy it in all sort of athletic stores, and you can use that to release tension in your body, okay? In your back, along the spine, just don't press it in the spinal processes, make sure you are going again, soft tissue.
Now, where can we find something like
Amazon, any sport stores sell those. You can even find it in Trader Joe's.
What's the name of it?
Theracane.
Theracane.
Theracane. Theracane. Or some places are just massage stick or whatever they call it. Okay? So things like that, PVC pipe, a little piece, can go a long way if you want to release tension in your calves, if you want to go for a walk and you feel tightness in your calves. But again, you probably need to see a professional who can teach you how to use it. But it doesn't have, you don't have to buy, expensive equipment. You can actually pick up things around the house and which is going to help you to release tension in your muscles, because sometimes you don't move because you hurt, and you just need to take care of this discomfort and tension.
Oh, thank you so much. Once again, I wanted to remind we had Lilia Anteau in our studio. She's a barefoot training specialist, functional medicine specialist, and so much more. So please come and see her. She's at the Adventure Core in Atlanta, Georgia. You can call there and schedule an appointment with Lilia. The number there is 770-561-8367. Please remember that movement is a privilege. Movement is everything. Movement is your life. And thank you so much for being here tonight with us. And we will see you next Thursday exactly at 6 o'clock in the evening. Lilia, thank you so much for being here with us.
Up.